What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Truck Parking Clubhouse. I'm your host, Michael Lombard, aka you could just call me Lombard. It is Monday, June 23rd. Just coming back from the Texas Trucking Show. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Taillights newsletter, go to newsletter.truckparkingclub.com to go subscribe. In there, you will get some news around the industry, as well as some partner content, as well as some weekly discounts and some DOT safety and compliance from our good friend Santiago Talamontes, which he jumps in on there. Do want to point out the banner at the bottom of the screen. So from now until June 30th, you can use that code July 4. And so this is especially important if you are looking to do some pre-booking, if you are traveling for the holidays, if you know that you're going to be either parked for a while, or maybe you're headed into the Port of Los Angeles or Europe in the New York area, you can use that code July 4, and that'll get you $50 off a booking. From then, you can use that between now and the end of the month, June 30th. We've got that promo going on. We're fired up for the 4th of July. We saw kind of the traffic work through on Memorial Day weekend, and we were like, how can we dial this up to help some truckers out around the holiday? Because I know I've driven around the holidays. It gets really busy. Truck stops close to where you're home, or even if you're out over the road traveling during the holiday, some of those truck stops you're going to, if you're hauling freight, are more full because people are home and they're parking at the truck stops longer than they should be. And I know because I read those comments on TikTok as well. But either way, jump in, use that promo code if you need it. And again, go read Taillights. We're going to touch on some of those topics, but we got one of our great partners we're going to bring up on and chop it up, Mr. Ralph himself. What's going on, brother?
Sitting here in Mississippi, Alabama.
Let's go. Yeah, glad to have you finally on the Clubhouse. I know you've been tuning in last couple of weeks. It's good to finally have you on here to chop it up. Let people get to know you and do what you're doing. Where at in Mississippi are you?
On I-20, just outside of Meridian.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think I know exactly where you parked up at.
At a Love's.
Yep, I know. I think I know the exact Love's you're at. I've gone.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to put my truck in the shop, but it's working. So.
Yeah, you having some AC issues out there?
Yeah.
I've had an AC issue, and the thing is with AC issues, we were talking before about how you never know if it's got to go to the dealer. The truck stop won't have the part. Oh, the dealer's got it. It's in 2 weeks. Parts are on back order, but it's working now.
Yep.
And your truck's hooked up with an APU though too for a backup.
Yep.
That's dope. So, man, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What got you into trucking, man?
I was born in Delaware. Grew up mainly in Laurel, Delaware, which is a farming community, lower Delaware. And then I moved to North Carolina, then moved back to Delaware, moved back to North Carolina, and here I go. Yeah.
So back and forth, Delaware to North Carolina. It's hard to think of Delaware having agriculture being like how small Delaware is.
They have a lot of chickens, and we grew. Also had a lot of produce. We grew because of the sandy soil. So I lived on about almost 100-acre farm when I was growing up, and my dad always told me, "If you want something, get your butt out there and get a job and do it." And that's what I do. My dad is 82 years old. Come Saturday, he still works.
Man, that's not is your father driving?
No, he's an electrical engineer on aircraft.
And he's still out there. Working on aircraft, grinding.
Well, mainly from the home, from his house, but the drawings and stuff.
Man, that's awesome. So you went back and forth, Delaware to North Carolina. When did you start driving?
I wanted to start driving when I was about 19, but of course, living in Delaware, can't really get a job intrastate in the state of Delaware because you don't take too long to get in and out. And then when I moved back to moved down to North Carolina for the last time, I had a couple tickets on me. Yeah, speeding tickets, whatever. And back in '99, I started seeing I worked in the furniture factories in Lexington, North Carolina. I saw we were bringing in containers full of furniture. We were finishing it and putting "Made in America" on the box. I'm like, yep, it's time to go. And that's what I did. Went to truck driving school February of 2000.
February 2000. Man, so you just hit 25-year mark.
Yep.
That's awesome. We got a great listener right here, Pop Tart. She's Raleigh, North Carolina, checking in. What's going on out there? If you got any questions for the man Ralph, feel free to drop them in the comments. By the way, for you guys out there, especially you guys tuning out on Instagram, Jay Holmes, appreciate you dropping in, saying what's up. Mr. J Tadlock 91, thanks for coming by the Clubhouse to hang out. So you started driving in. So you went to school in 2000. Who'd you start up with?
Burlington Motor Carriers.
How long were you with them?
Right at a year. Then I went to a small company there in Forest City until my checks started bouncing. I went to Warner, ran the team with my stepbrother, and then I trained at Warner. And then after that, I did piggybacking until I got injured coming out of the Charlotte airport. And then ever since, hauling furniture, whatever. Now I'm hauling frozen, protein.
Yeah, dude, you're one of the world's biggest protein haulers right there. You're working for Tyson, right?
Last 3 years. 7 years before that was Ashley Furniture.
Oh, Ashley Furniture. They have the black trucks, right?
Yep.
How long were you with Ashley?
7 years.
And is Ashley team only?
No, they have some teams now, but mainly they have point to point, which is what I did, was take the furniture from the distribution centers to the drop lots, and then from there they had LTL that delivered to all the stores and mom and pops and all that.
Gotcha. I think Hobby Lobby is who run teams only.
Yeah, Hobby Lobby does team. Yeah, that's a different private carrier, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the last 10 years I've been with nothing but private fleet, which is the best thing for trucking, I think.
Do you think Ashley Furniture is probably the best for private fleet?
No. Well, any private fleet's better than, the general over-the-road companies or whatever. They treat you better. You better benefits, better home time usually.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting way to put it. Like, almost, I was just at the Texas Trucking Show, and we were talking to a driver who drives he's an In-N-Out Burgers private fleet. And so, like, yeah, you're talking about a company who owned, like, a major retailer who happens to own their own trucks.
Yes.
Like where they're a carrier, as opposed, like, I mean, Walmart's one of them. Walmart has their own private fleet. They're very good to drive for, and it would almost be like if, like Target doesn't have their own private fleet. I don't think Target. A lot of stuff.
I don't think so either. They use a lot of outside carrier stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's contracted out. So I'm curious how Sherwin-Williams is, because I know that they got a private fleet. And then I think like Little Caesars, Domino's. I've heard good stuff about Domino's tractor trailer drivers.
I've delivered to places like that, but I never talked to any of the drivers.
Yeah, so I'm always curious about those those retailers who also happen to have fleets.
The bad thing with Ashley is we had to pick up backhauls to go back, so it could be Budweiser, Pepsi, whatever,
So so working for Tyson, you'll do backhauls like that?
In 3 years I've been here at Tyson, I have yet to pull a brokered load.
Oh, really? So it's all chicken all the time. It's all protein all the time.
It's either from a Tyson going to a Walmart, whatever, or something going to Tyson, or is it Tyson to Tyson?
Oh, nice. Yeah. So they keep you rolling. They're moving that much protein.
I got this truck right beginning of 2024, and I got 206,000 miles on it.
Man, okay. So you've been putting the hammer down out there.
Yes.
Pop-Tart refers to what you're doing as a chicken taxi. Is that the common phrase?
I hold a lot of chicken.
No, that's what it is. Yeah. So where do you primarily run for Tyson? Are you going everywhere?
For the most part, I'm usually Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, east. But I do go out to Washington State once. We go out to Utah. We go out to Wyoming. I'm going to New Mexico every once in a while. But for the most part, it's Texas, east.
That's good stuff. So you stay out of California.
Yeah. We don't go. We put that on the outside carriers.
Oh, so Tyson will put that on outside carriers.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome. And it's still based in North Carolina, though.
Oh, actually, I live in North Carolina. The company's based out of Springdale, Arkansas. A lot of people call it Chickendale.
Chickendale, Arkansas. Yeah, no, I worked for a carrier and then contracted for a carrier out of Gravette. So yeah, I know that Tyson HQ is there. That's good to know just for the overall hiring experience. So Tyson will basically hire kind of east of 35
Well,
is
you have to go onto their website, drivefortyson.com, and it'll tell you what they're hiring for. It could be regional, it could be local, it could be live haul, it could be feed, it could be over the road.
good stuff. So you've been driving 25 years, been with Tyson for a minute now. When did you first hear about Truck Parking Club?
About 2 years ago, matter of fact, I knew exactly where I was. I was at the rest area on I-70 just east of Columbus when I first saw the ad or heard it on the radio or whatever. And I called a lady who had, and then talked to her for a little bit. Then I talked to Evan a few times. I never got to meet Evan, but yeah. So
So
it's been
you
a minute.
Yeah, so you kind of just saw an ad and called the customer service line.
Yep.
Were
And
you
like,
were you looking for parking at the time?
no, I thought it would be a good thing to get the word spread and social media and all.
No, that's awesome, man. I wanted to dive into that for Jay Holmes, he's watching on Instagram. He's kind of curious. So, we're talking to Ralph about how he heard about Truck Parking Club, and he had seen one of our advertisements either on the radio. And so, for those of you guys who are tuning in who don't know, essentially, Truck Parking Club is the Airbnb of truck parking. You figure Airbnb does with houses. They're a marketplace where if you're looking for a place to stay and you own a house, you can host that house on the Airbnb platform. And we do the same thing with just instead of houses, it's truck parking. And so, like at the time when you had heard that advertisement, did you run into any issues with truck parking? What's an issue where you had a tough time with truck parking in your
Depends
kind
on
of
the
career driving?
It depends on the area, especially the Northeast. You can't find parking up in the Northeast for much. Uh best thing to do is trip plan. Know where you're going. Like I know I got a 1,500-mile trip. I know where I'm going. Do I know where I'm going to park most of the time? Yeah. Tyson here lately has been very strict on hours of service. They don't want us to go over. So I make sure I park before my 11 out, 10 hours, 10 and a half. If I know I'm going to a truck stop or area, I know I can find parking at. A lot of drivers are scared to park at the way stations. I'm not. Bring it.
Yeah, I parked a lot if I was going to Baltimore. Really, the only place you can go. I was lucky when I was contracted Warren Transport. We had a spot. I think it was a tow yard. It was a tow yard, and we had some spot in the back that was technically in. It was not far from Dundalk, and we were able to park there. But that would be if you were getting empty, or because if you were on your way there, sometimes it's really hard to get in and out of there and around. So if I was on my way to Baltimore, there's a way station, I think probably like 30, 35 miles out that we'd stop at. But yeah, people are afraid of the way stations because they're afraid they're going to wake up to a knock from DOT.
Well, there's some states you're allowed to park at the skill house. Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, the name of several others.
Absolutely. Hey, we got Angela coming in saying, "What's up? What's up to you, Ralph? Got anything to say to Angela?"
Hey, Angela, she lives not too far from me.
There we go. Good stuff. So when it comes to using truck parking, how's recently, I think you had an issue. You were delivering to Costco, right? What had happened out there? What had happened with Costco? You couldn't deliver early?
Yeah, all the reviews say, "Oh yeah, you can park here. You can park here." Because I look at Google reviews. That's a big thing. And like saw the reviews. I you could go there a couple hours early. Went there like 4 hours early. Oh no, you got to go. So I had to go real quick. Truck Parking Club. There was one 3 miles away, and I was able to sit there for 4 hours, then go to check in, and then stay at Costco for like 6 to get unloaded.
Yeah, that's it. I delivered the Costco DC in the Houston area. Yeah, you do a lot of. Do they still give you the buzzer like
Yep.
kind of like at a restaurant? Yeah, you end up sitting there for a while. It's funny how they won't let you park, but they'll let you just sit at a door for six some odd
Same
hours.
thing with Walmart. Walmart is 1 hour before, 1 hour after your appointment. I
Well,
delivered the one in Arcadia, Florida last week. sat there for 7 hours getting unloaded.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hot button topics that at least myself and a good friend of the show, good friend of the Truck Parking Club, Gord McGill, we talk a lot about detention. And, I think some of the biggest issues, the glaring issues that I think a lot of people talk about are pay, parking, like those, and because those are really easy hot button. But I think one that goes missed is detention. Does Tyson help you out with detention? What does that look like on your end?
We don't get detention time, unfortunately. We get $25 every load. I make very good money. Like right now, I'm sitting at like 53,000 for the year so far. So I'm making good money here at Tyson. A lot more I made at Ashley.
All right, so at least Tyson's pay structure is set up to still
Yeah.
at the end of the year you're getting a good check, whereas some other guys might be a little SOL when it comes to detention time, or for I think especially for owner operators. I mean, when I had my own truck, I remember I think the longest I sat was at some flower place in Oklahoma, and I was there for probably and it was a union place because I remember because they would like leave and go on break, and I think I was there for like 9 hours or something like brutal like that, and I showed up like 2 hours early for the appointment, and that was just like mind numbing. I remember I got like 30,000 steps that day because I was just like that bored. But detention, I think, is an issue that, especially on the reefer side, and that's where I think Truck Parking Club. We had a lot of conversations at the Texas Trucking Show this weekend with a lot of people local in the Houston area, and with reefer. I mean, that's the thing. If you're getting unloaded, I mean, you're getting unloaded sometimes at 1, 2 in the morning, right?
It depends on the place, yeah.
And it's at that point, kind of that's when the truck stops are all full.
Bad thing like Food Line, which is big in around Carolinas, Dusa. You go there, you got to pay them $400 or $500, and you sit there while they unload your load. A lot of places are like this, and then you sit in the dock until they break the whole load down. It could be 8 hours, 9 hours, but you're empty the whole time.
And and you said by paying them, you're talking about the lumper fee.
The lumper fee, yeah. The Dusa, you're not even allowed on the dock, yeah. Which I ain't gonna unload the stuff anyway.
It's that's another fascinating one right there, is because I went to a Target DC did that to me right around Thanksgiving. The one, it was up in the DFW area where, yeah, they were looking to like count the merchandise. And it's like at that point, I mean, it's just usury at that point to, because again, the motor carrier has one job, the receiver buys from the shipper. The carrier just moves it from point A to point B. And especially because when you get loaded at these places, like when I got loaded with that load, they put the seal on. Like they put the seal on. They don't let the driver look at the load. They don't want the driver to look at it. They shut the door. They put the seal on it. If at that point, if there's any product missing, that's a dispute between shipper and receiver. The carrier there's nothing the carrier can do, and them staying doesn't do anything either, because if nothing's there, carrier doesn't need to do anything. Receiver needs to just call the shipper and be like, hey, there was missing stuff. That truck should be gone on the road.
See, some of our distribution centers, we don't even open the doors to back in. They do it all from the inside. They seal it, everything. We don't see nothing. One time I went to a Food Line there in Dispatana, Virginia. I think I had 23 pallets of steaks, hamburgers, whatever. And they broke it down to like 87, 170, something like that. One for each store, I guess. And I sat in the door all this whole time while they were repalletizing everything.
Yeah, I got you. Jay Holmes was asking, he said, what is detention? So the best way to sum up detention is if you are delivering a load to a shipper or a receiver. Normally, like I know I drove for PAM Transport, and if you were at a receiver for longer than 2 hours, you started getting hourly pay for every hour you waited after about the 2 hour mark. And as an owner operator, it's something you can do. That's a conversation you have with the broker on that load. But essentially, Jay, to answer your question, yeah, it's a detention is a form of payment a driver would get for wasting their time at a shipper or receiver for too long, and it happens more often than not. I mean, there's articles after articles. I'm probably going to I'm going to find a detention piece I might have to talk about detention in next week's edition of Taillights.
When I worked at Averitt Express back in 2006, they put in detention time. And then you had to send a message, okay, I request detention time. I sat at this place for 7 hours. And they come back, they're on the exemption list. And they kept on saying that don't send me to places that are on the exemption list. And of course, they're the ones who get you in and out, you know.
Yeah, of course, that's how it works. The people upstairs, they, the customer, whatever the sales team between carrier and these customers have, they probably come up with some sort of negotiated rate to where detention is okay in their eyes, but yet it still rolls down onto the driver. He's got a gentleman in here. He said, "Is a driver forced to pay a lumper fee?" So how do you guys pay for lumper fees? What's your process of going through that?
We have to send in a message, and they send us a comp check.
Okay, so they'll send you the comp check
right over. And now,
over.
since COVID, everything's done via text message and all that.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the biggest one for lumper services is Capstone here lately. They seem like got all the distribution centers.
Yeah, that's who I remember paying the most. What's the highest lumper fee that you've had that you've had to pay?
Probably $600-700.
$600-700. How long were you there?
Several hours. One time they sent me from Pottsville here at Tyson down to our plant we had outside of Richmond. We ended up closing. I had to take a load somebody relayed 20 miles into town. Come to find out, I was the fourth driver that was late. They had to pay almost $600 late fee. And the funny thing is, they had drivers sitting there while I came down from Pennsylvania the whole time. But hey, I just drive for Tyson.
Yeah, we have a guy jumping in on Instagram. He said he paid $278 to get 5 pallets unloaded. What's your reaction to that?
That's cheap.
Cheap. Still, it's only 5 pallets, but yeah, lumper fees are another thing. I think it's right next to detention, where again, if there's a lumper, that needs to be, that's between shipper receiver, and they figure out that payment, and the shipper pays that, and whatever the invoicing is, it doesn't involve the carrier at all. And I'm curious, somebody needs to do a better deep dive on why lumpers charge more.
I think it's so the distribution centers are not liable for the people who are unloading, because that's a different service. Maybe insurance. I don't know.
No, yeah, I got you. Yeah, gentleman saying, he says he pays $400 to $600 a week just for lumper fees. He's a 1099 guy, so he's definitely. That sounds like it's rough out there. But another one of those issues that, yeah, we don't love them, and I mean, that's something myself. I mentioned Gord McGill earlier. There's a lot of us who definitely advocate on behalf of those things. Here's a question for you, Ralph. What do you think, gentlemen? Jay Holmes is asking, what areas in the country has the worst truck parking problem? You mentioned the Northeast.
Northeast.
Where else besides the Northeast you think has probably got the worst?
Anywhere around Atlanta, the major cities.
It's like any major metropolitan. Atlanta is definitely a big one that comes to mind. I did a whole spot piece on Atlanta and Atlanta traffic a month or two ago in Taillights, and that got a lot of feedback on it. But yeah,
Memphis, Birmingham. See, we're not even allowed to stop in Birmingham, Memphis. But they keep giving us field routing to fuel at Memphis, East Memphis, or West Memphis and all.
Oh, you stop at you spend the night at West Memphis Loves?
Oh, no.
How come you won't spend the night there?
I'm not staying. No. They're like, you learn places out here not to go to. And, I have friends that call me up, hey, which way would you go? Like my dad. He was going up to a thing in Boston when he lived in Pennsylvania. He was going across the Tappan Zee. I'm like, what are you going that way for? Oh, that's when GPS. I'm like, you're going the wrong way. He followed my way coming back, 90, 84 down 81. He said, oh, that's so much easier.
Yeah, you kind of figure out those routes. Big props to you still calling it the Tappan Zee Bridge, by the way. That's what I'll always It'll always be the Tappan Zee Bridge. Big hat tip to the Dutch, by the way, for that name.
Yeah, I think it's named. I forget what they call it. The new bridge.
Yeah, it's named after Mario Cuomo.
Yeah, who's now trying to run for mayor of New York City, isn't he?
Yeah, Andrew Cuomo. Mario Cuomo is Andrew Cuomo's father. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, gentleman jumping in. He says DFW is a tough place to theft. A gentleman, guy's asking, he's curious. How come you're not able to stop in Memphis or Birmingham?
Theft.
There you go. Yeah, high risk area to answer your
And our
question.
trailers have big, 53-foot billboards on the side of it, say steak or chicken, which it might not be what we hauling, but
It's food. It's valuable.
Yep.
It's when you look at if you're looking at a white 53-foot dry van trailer, you could break it open and there could be nothing but auto parts in there, or there could be nothing but toys that are going to so it's like it's pretty run of the mill. But if it's Tyson trailer, odds are you're going to get your target. If you're a thief, you have that walking billboard. You're able to see, oh, I can grab exactly what exactly what you're getting.
Yep.
What's going on? Hey, your boy, this is one of your boys right here. WTF Mike.
Oh yeah, he's up there. He's a good guy.
What's going on, Mike? And we got Kenneth Bird jumping in. What's up, Ken? How we doing? If you guys are tuning in live, feel free to drop a comment, question down below where you're tuning in from. But other than that, I want to dive into your opinion on this, on the issue in Nashville. I'm not sure if you saw this Instagram post, but I kind of want to read it to you, like about what this woman had to say. Number one, how often are you through Nashville?
I try to avoid Nashville if I can. I take 840, and if I have to go through Nashville, if I can't do the 8, if I'm not staying on 40, it's Bradley Parkway is the best way around.
Yeah, I got you. So you're not spending. You don't have like a DC there or anything that you're like.
We have a distribution center just north of Nashville, and we got a plant south of Nashville. Shelbyville is the chicken plant.
Oh yeah, Shelbyville's not too far. I've picked up in Shelbyville too because
And just north of Nashville, there on 65, we got a distribution center, slicing plant.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Nomadic Backpack, tuning in from Vegas. We just added a spot by the Loves out by Nellis Air Force Base. Yes, appreciate you, Nomadic. Again, for any guys tuning in, bottom of the screen, you could see we've got a Independence Day holiday code from now until the end of June. If you're going home, if you need $50 off parking, you've got that July 4. But yeah, Ralph, I want to know your honest opinion about this. So this woman, her name is Joy Stiles. She seems to be a councilwoman in Tennessee. She says, we have all been annoyed with the seemingly overnight appearance of tractor trailers along Old Hickory, Murfreesboro Road, and Old Franklin Road. I've been speaking with Nashville DOT over the last few months about what we can do. Without question, they are a pain. They are unsightly and impact visibility. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I guess she don't go to the store and buy anything because that's the way stuff goes to the stores via truck.
Yeah, she says that's what I find the most fascinating is without question they are a pain. But what would be a bigger pain is if they weren't there in the first place. That would be my response. The update today is that the traffic engineering team is going to go out this week and assess the visibility issues and determine locations for some no parking signs. With the signs, we should have some accountability with enforcement. So what are no parking signs supposed to do?
You could go to these truck stops, rest areas, no parking on the shoulders and ramps, and they're parking right beside it. They're on 85, 75 there where the truck stops are at Jackson. They got big electronic signs, no parking on ramps, and they're parked right in front of it, behind it, all the way up and down the ramps.
So you don't think that signs are going to stop it and that's going to hold them accountable? And here's the best part. I mean, she discovered the reason. She says, "I believe that we have discovered the reason for their arrival. The TA travel stop downtown closed last year. The trucks have no designated place to go. They are now parking where they can by interstate entrances for their breaks. I'll post when I have the results of the traffic enforcement findings. We definitely need a permanent fix." What I say to that is, I mean, one Google search. I think one Google search of is there not, if you were to type if her as a councilwoman just typed into the Google search bar, is there a problem with truck parking? Her answer would be, she'd have all the answers that she would ever wanted.
Yep.
But either way, so what? But so, I mean, what are your thoughts? What do you think are some good solid? We got Jay, who's at, Jay asks again. He says, "Do we think it's something the industry needs more of?" What do what do you think when it comes to truck parking? What do you
We
think?
definitely need more truck parking. Like I said, most of the time I know where I'm going to stop unless something happens. Do I like to pay to park? No, but if I have to, I will pay to park. Especially if I can get closer to a shipper or receiver. Most of the time, my shippers are the plants. There are some Tyson plants we can't even park at, but But I try to plan ahead, and a lot of companies now are enforcing: do not park on ramps, do not park on shoulders. Tyson is now, we got these outward facing cameras that catching drivers, and if you get caught 3 times, you're fired, because we've had drivers get hit parked on the shoulder.
I just had a conversation with a bull hauler at the Texas Trucking Show. And he says a lot that, especially when his guys are empty, that's where they'll be. They'll be on they'll be on shoulders. They'll be in places that they shouldn't be. He's lost 3 hoods just in the past, I think, 8 or 9 months, like 3 hoods on his trucks. And bull haulers, for what it's worth, normally are driving, probably some of the dopest rides out there. They got long nose Pete's, they got chrome. They're looking fine out there. And so he's lost 3 hoods. And I mean, like, so these are preventable business expenses that can happen. But other than that, man, we got Nashville parking. So what's the rest of the year look like for you? Kind of, you're 25 years in. What's the next 5 years look like? Are you eyeing retirement? Is Tyson the forever home? What do you got going on in the future?
Right now, Tyson's the forever home. I thought about that with Ashley too, but I was going to go to Walmart and it didn't work out, which I'm glad it didn't. And I like it here at Tyson.
No, that's good, man. If you had to say, I mean, for some of the people watching out there, if you had to, besides Tyson, are there any other, like, if you were to give like one piece of advice to a new driver entering the industry, what's like one good piece of advice you'd give
How
them?
to get on with a private fleet? Like here at Tyson, we hire students who, if you got your CDL and you're in the right area, they will hire you and they'll train you. And you start off,
So get with a private fleet.
A lot of private fleets, they want 2 to 3 years experience before you can get hired on. It all depends on the private fleet. But the benefits seem better. The retirement is a lot better. They're putting, buku bucks in my retirement plan here.
There we go. I think that's a dark horse piece of intel right there. Like, people look for the companies to drive for. Like, people always talk about, oh, what's the best company, but almost narrowing it down to that private fleet. So if you know of a retailer, and I'm trying to think of some other private fleets, we listed, Domino's, Little Caesars, Ashley Furniture, Tyson, Tyson's not
Walmart.
Necessarily, but Walmart's another one, Sherwin-Williams, Hobby Lobby. It's crazy to think. I remember I went to Schick Razors in Milford, Connecticut, and I saw an old Toys R Us trailer. And I'm curious if Toys R Us had their own private fleet.
I think they sublease their trucks out.
Yeah, I think that they might have contracted out, but Target doesn't have one. I don't think. And then, I mean, grocery stores do, like HEB has a private fleet.
That's why I just delivered yesterday.
You're right. HEB distribution centers, you'll be waiting a little bit there too.
2 hours, I was out.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Pop-Tart says, Dollar General, Family Dollar, Publix.
Well, they use outside carriers. They use outside, like Warner's and whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Werner. Yeah,
U.S. Express hauls a lot of that.
yeah, they're big ones as well. But other than that, man, hey, I do want to let the people know who are watching because I don't want to take up your whole night. So Ralph is in, as you can tell, has 25 years of driving experience. This is a guy who's super passionate about the industry. He cares. He also has his own YouTube channel, which he is live on right now. So I appreciate you guys tuning in on Ralph's channel. So Ralph is an individual we work with because, like Truck Bargain Club, Ralph is somebody who wants to leave the industry better than he found it. And so he's partnered with us to help some drivers get parked. And so Ralph, if you need some parking, so we have the $50 promo code, but say you just need an overnight spot or anything, if you need some parking for whether it's your first booking or you haven't used it yet, Ralph has his code. It's Ralph's 24. Am I right?
Yep.
So it's Ralph's capital RALPHS 24, just with a capital R, and that'll get you $20 off a booking. But other than that, Ralph, any last words? Anything you want to put on the record before we sign off?
Another big thing back in when was it? I don't know if you remember Arrow when they went down in 2009. Arrow, flatbeds Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Part of used to be a part of a phone group, and we had a thing called the Christmas group. We raised money for needy truckers, and that's right before Arrow went down. We had ended up helping drivers get home and had to do that. One of the founding guys wanted to make sure we didn't forget the people who died in a truck. Out here 25 years, I have had a lot of drivers that die in a truck, friends of mine. Well, the guy who wanted that so bad, his name was Rick Rogers. He was the first one to get taken home, and I was the one to do it, unfortunately. That was the hardest trip I ever did. My company at the time, Cargo Transporters, took 3 times for me to get down to Florida to get his remains. He sat in my passenger seat. Then he got me from Florida up to North Carolina, and then from there up to Wisconsin, where I gave the remains to his mom. And a lot of people follow me over that Memorial Day weekend. So my biggest thing is make sure you tell people where you park at night. A lot of companies don't care until that load is late. There was a driver that died in Troutman, North Carolina, several years ago when it was a Wilco. Now it's a Pilot. He died before Christmas. I think they found another driver saw something leaking from the truck and looked in and saw he was dead. I think it was in March. And the driver sat there for 2.5, 3 months. And the truck stop didn't realize the same truck has been parked there forever. So my biggest thing is make sure people know where you parked. Some of these companies does not care until that load is late.
No, that's well said, man. That's a freaking powerful testimony. I mean, it's important to talk about those things. Again, I talk about them a lot, especially when it comes to health, fitness, overall wellness. But again, checking on your friends, checking on your drivers, one is huge. I can't. Your story. I mean, I've seen that. I mean, there's videos about that on TikTok, for crying out loud, of people being like, this person's truck has been there for a week. And they just found him.
There's a group on Facebook called Missing Truck Drivers, I think, something like that. And you see people post, hey, he was last seen, or she, whoever was last seen here. Be on the lookout. Like I said, tell somebody where you parked every night. That's why I post on Facebook every night where I'm parked, in case I end up dying in the back of this truck, which could happen. You never know.
No, it's not going to happen to you, man. You're strong. You got a strong will. I know you'll be able to fight through that, and
But like I said, I've had a lot of friends that die in the truck.
No, man, and may they rest in peace. And hey, Ralph, you got their loads from here, right?
Yep.
No, that's awesome, man.
Dude, hey, my buddy Rick that died in Florida, right there between 95 and 10. He tried to call me before, and I was with my niece and all, and I didn't pick up the phone, and then I found out a couple hours later he crashed and died. He was, yeah.
Man, I hate to hear that, man. I can't appreciate you sharing that stuff enough, especially on a live stream, especially with people tuning in watching, because they're not talked about enough. Those are other issues. Like we could talk about truck parking, we could talk about pay, detention, lumper fees. That's all good and grand. And for as much as people may want robots to do this job, they don't. And I mean, these are the real raw stories of it. I mean, this isn't. I mean, do people pass away at their job, oil field, guys like that? Sure, but it's no, we shouldn't be normalizing it. It's. I don't think it's not okay. It's not okay. Like
You see
it's.
it on Facebook and Instagram, whatever, where they're taking another body off out of a truck. Where they were found. Luckily they didn't sit there and decompose in a truck where stuff was dripping out of the truck before somebody saw.
Yeah, I mean that right there is just egregious. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, that story you shared where somebody had found it. I mean, around gentleman passed away around Christmas, and they didn't find the, and they didn't do anything to this truck until March. I mean, there should be.
They reported the truck stolen. That's all they did.
There should be. I mean, there should be something criminal. There should be criminal charges to that. I mean, I guess from the basis of the company. I mean, it's like.
Oh, like the Wilco truck stop. They want, you don't notice the same trucks parked there for, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. You go, what's up here? 911, call, that's free, do it, wellness check.
Yeah, no, it's freaking tragic, man. But I'm gonna make a point to keep talking about that. Any chance you got, or any resources or material that you have on that, make sure to send it my way so we can
Well, I
keep this
sent you that link to
conversation.
that one story in Troutman. Like I
Mhm.
said, that's only 15 miles from my house.
Yeah, and I think that was what, back in 2009,
Something like that. No, it was a couple years ago. It was,
15. I think it might have been
yeah,
2015.
something like that. Yeah.
No, yeah, that stuff's important. I'm glad we use this channel to talk about it too, because you don't see a lot of other YouTubers talking about it. You don't see a lot of other people on Instagram and TikTok wanting to talk about it. It's not the good looking stuff. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. It's not catchy. It kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit. But man, I appreciate you sharing this
Yeah.
stuff. And we
Everyone's
need.
going to die, but hopefully, like I said, I don't die in the back of the truck. But if I do, I don't want to sit there for months.
No,
Which
and
I'm sure, Tyson was like, hey, yeah.
Tyson, I feel like will take care of you. But Angela says, let's hope it's not Ralph. It's not going to
Of
be.
course. She's a sweet lady.
Yes, thank you for tuning in, Angela, and thank you guys for jumping in on the Clubhouse. With that, I mean, we'll sign this one off, guys. Tune in next week. We'll be back at you 7:30 Central Time. But other than that, you guys stay safe out there. Again, if you check on your friends tonight, make sure you know where they're parked, and if they need some parking, again, that promo code July 4 right at the bottom of the screen. We got you guys for the holiday, especially if you're needing to go home. You want to go home for a little bit longer, more than 1-2 nights. This will hopefully get you back. Lynn says safe travels. Appreciate you guys once again for tuning in. But with that, we will see you next